Tune in to The Lone Wolf Show. Join us as we embark an enchanting journey with the most renowned pagans of our time. From visionary authors who weave magic with words to musicians whose melodies echo the ancient rhythms of the earth, and witchcraft teachers who unlock the mysteries of the old way. With contemporary and historical witchcraft, man. Meet the authors who pen the spells and captivate our souls, man. Listen to the musicians who strum the strings of Gaia herself, the straight spirit and raw. Learn from the teachers who illuminate the path of hidden knowledge. Don't miss the exclusive series and interviews where mysticism meets the microphone, only on The Lone Wolf Show, man, where magic happens, man, and Witchcraft TV comes. Every weekday, Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Witchcraft TV.
3, 2, 1.
Welcome, everybody, to another rendition of The Lone Wolf Show, a podcast on the Witchcraft TV platform, www.witchcrafttv.online. And with this rendition, I have a special guest who has been involved in a lot of great work in the pagan community in the Southern Delta. Reverend Glenn Garrison, how are you doing today?
Tired. It has been a long day. It has been a long week and a long month and a long year for that matter. And I have been going and going and going with our church to help feed our community. And it is it's a wonderful ride, but a long ride nonetheless.
So, Rev Glenn, can you tell us about your church? Where are you located, and what's the name of your church?
The name of the church is the Southern Delta Church of Wicca, ATC 501c3. We're located at 104 Main Street in Lake City, Arkansas. That's in Craighead County. We've been at this location, I forget how many years. It was before I got here. Originally, the church started in Jonesboro, moved to Brooklyn, just up the road, and then from Brooklyn, it moved to Lake City.
So one can't help but notice, particularly on social media, the amount of food that you're taking pictures of and the garden that's being grown there. How did your church get involved in providing food for your local community?
Well, the first thing I would have to say is that you have to ask yourself, well, what is the purpose of a church? To some people, the idea of a church is to maybe help with spiritual matters, and that is a part of it. But a church is meant to help the community that it's in. That's what it's for. It's to provide some type of help. And I'm sorry, they're having another interview right over there. So, but we decided that we wanted to be able to grow something to try to help feed people. Now, that was back in 2019. Now, the church, for the longest time, way before I got here, already had a highway cleanup program. And they had an account with Home Depot years and years before I got there, that they were able to actually get a lot of free products like wood and, just construction material. And they would go around the local area and they would help build things like wheelchair ramps. And if somebody's storm door was messed up or something, their steps was messed up, you're talking elderly folks who just don't have the means and the physical strength to get out there and fix anything. So they were able to go out there and help fix stuff. And then they also would, just donate this lumber and building material away. And of course, like I said, they did the highway cleanup and everything. But in 2019, something very special happened at our church. We had a church member, bless him. He bought the property across the street from our church. It's our parking lot. And that was the original idea, was turn that into a parking lot. And it was a good idea because we needed the parking, the spaces over there. But we had this idea, you know what? Let's grow some food back there. And it's about 90 feet long. I'd say probably about 30 feet wide, something like that. And I got out there and I started, tearing this ground up. And 2019 was a hot year. I remember that because I wanted to plant a row of corn out there. I don't plant corn no more, really. I mean, it's not a cash crop. But I wanted to plant some corn. And problem is out there's a bunch of pine trees. So I got out there and I started trying to dig around all these pine tree roots, and it wasn't happening. Well, a shovel wasn't doing it, so I had to go online and do some research. And that's the big thing, is doing your research about what you got to do, So I ended up getting a very special tool called a mattock. Never used one before. Didn't know what it was. Really sturdy grub hoe with a pick on the other side. That's about 115 degrees outside. And that's with heat index. And I went out there and I started tearing up that ground with that thing. And I promise you, I probably almost had a heat stroke out there working out there. The corn that we got wasn't all good, and the squirrels ate it up. So, but we did grow a bunch of other stuff like squash and cucumbers, zucchini, and tomatoes. Those are cash crops. Cash crops are vegetables, fruits that when the plant itself will sit there and grow and keep producing more and more fruit throughout the season, and so I was new at it. I was a kid. When I was a kid, I learned how to do a lot of gardening with my parents and everything. But I didn't really care much about it because I was young. And now I'm grown. I'm like, okay, I actually want to invest my time into this. So there's a learning curve, and I'm blessed to be able to have Terry here, who knows a lot more about gardening than I did, and he started, teaching me how I needed to do these things. And so we started off there, and the original plan was we were going to take all these vegetables that we grew, and we were going to go down to the housing authority here in Lake City, Arkansas. And that's the HUD houses for low-income people. And we got permission from the manager down there, and we went around and we started knocking on their doors, and we had a big old bushel of, kinds of, vegetables. We were like, hey, do you want some vegetables? It's all free. Now, some of them were very happy that we came down there and did that. But, unfortunately, some folks don't agree with our faith. And they started, not liking the idea that the witches were coming around the HUD apartments and giving out food, and they said expletives that I don't want to repeat here, but, we decided, okay, if they don't want us to come there, we don't want to invade their space. So we got the idea we're going to build a vegetable stand. But right before we built the vegetable stand, the guy that bought the parking lot, bless him, he bought us another lot down the street on the Maumelle Street. That's our Maumelle garden. And it's pretty much about the same size as the one we started, but we moved everything down there. And we ended up getting with the city of Lake City. We got a really good relationship with this town, with the mayor and everything. And we talked them into putting us in a water meter down there, because you got to have water. You ain't going to grow nothing without the water. So we got the water down there. We put up fencing, and so we started growing stuff down there the same year. It was 2021, I think. Could be wrong, but I think it was. Anyway, we also put up a vegetable stand around about the same time. I actually have several videos on our YouTube channel for our church, and it's a series. It's been ongoing since the beginning called The Pagan Gardener. I kind of modeled it after this old house, but a lot of these videos are very long, and I understand that not everybody likes to sit there and watch an hour-long video. That's why we started making a lot of shorts as of late. But I pretty much documented the entire journey that from when we started out there all the way up to where we are now. And we started putting stuff out on that vegetable stand, and we had a little shelf out there, little blessing shelf. And we would start putting canned food and other little items, like mac and cheese and stuff. We put that kind of stuff out there on the shelf. And people started coming to it. We started telling people in the community, hey, if you need some free stuff, come up here. Come, you can keep your dignity. If you don't want to be associated with the witches, that's fine. You can come up here and you can get some free food anytime, day or night. Don't matter. You ain't even got to talk to nobody if you don't want to. Well, it started getting so popular that people were coming out there in the middle of the night, 2 a.m. And Terry came up with this thought, we ought to put us a light out there so these people can actually see and ain't bumping their head out there. So we did. We put a light out there. Shortly after that, we come up with the idea, you know what? Let's do a food pantry. Let's actually build something. And this is where being a witch is important. This is where magic is important. We didn't know where in the world we were going to get the money to build it. But you worked that magic, and that money came to us. Somebody gave us the money. They donated us the money because they seen what we were doing in the community. They seen how, all the hard work. And they knew that if they were to give us this money to do this, they knew where it was going to go. It wasn't going to go into buying cars and a bunch of crap that's no good, for nothing. They knew we were going to put this back into everything. So we built that. We documented building the pantry. It's all on video on YouTube. And that was a big hit. People started coming out to it. And we started a new Facebook page dedicated strictly to the pantry and the community garden to show people what we were doing.
What's the name of the Facebook page?
The Facebook page is called SDCW Food Bank of Lake City. So last year, which I think was our second year. Last year was our second year in the pantry. I ended up growing about 700 pounds of tomatoes in my backyard. And I started bringing them over. I didn't put them on the vegetable stand because I didn't want them to go bad. I wanted to give these out by the bushel to the folks that were coming into our food pantry. And so I would bring in big flower pots and buckets full of tomatoes. I'd put them in there and I say, just put a big old handful in everybody's box. Make sure everybody's getting tomatoes. I want everybody to get tomatoes. And that was a big hit. Everybody loved that. Everybody loved it. I weighed every bit of it. And so then we started working some more magic. We said, you know what? We need to figure out a way we can try to get some kind of a grant from the government. So I was not the one who did all that work. That was Terry and Ivy and other folks in the church that know more about grant stuff than I do. And they got a grant from the USDA, the United States Department of Agriculture, gave us $300,000 to be able to expand upon our community garden and our food pantry. And that's what was very important, was the fact that we had already had all this established. We had already been putting in the work. We had already been putting in the time and the effort. And we got all of this established. And then once we did that, we were able to put all that documentation down on the grant to let them know This is legitimate. We're doing this. I got the right Reverend Terry Riley coming over here. I think
Okay.
he wants to say hi.
It's not a
Terry?
total bomb, it's an interview bomb.
So this is not the first time that we've had.
Going over here, we come out, I apologize for that. I don't know.
Oh, that's great. That's great. How are you, Terry? And how are you, Terry?
Oh, I'm doing great. Just got back from the cruise, the Witches on the
Okay.
Water cruise the ATC put on.
Yeah, that
Almost got
great.
caught in a hurricane. I didn't like that. Other than that, we did great. All right, talk to me and I'm gonna get out of here.
Okay.
Thank you, Terry. So yeah, once we were able to get the grant from the USDA, then we went ahead and we bought the property next door. There's actually two properties, two lots, with two different addresses on them. And so one of the properties is a house, and the other part of the property is a big lot. And again, you can go on YouTube and you can go on our social media and you can see all the pictures, everything. But essentially what we ended up doing was we had to renovate that building, that house. We ended up putting an extension on the back end, and we ended up painting it. And we still got some more work we got to get done to it. We never did paint the front gable of the thing. We're going to get around to it. We got a bunch of red wasps down here. That's the thing about the South. There's a bunch of red wasps down here, and they're vicious little critters. And they like to come out and bother everybody, but they're up in that attic, and we don't want to get up in there and try to mess with them right now while it's still warm. We're waiting on a nice cold to come in so we can go in there and eradicate that nest, and then we can get up there and do everything we need to do. But everything's working, and what we ended up doing last year, right after we got the properties, me and Terry, we went down to one of our local tractor dealerships because I told him, I said, Terry, I've been doing this. At that time, it was 4 years. But I've been doing this for years now. Every year after year, spring after spring, I'd get out there and I'd tear up that ground with a shovel. Oh, yes, I did. I got out there with a shovel and turn them rows over. I'd get out there and with a big old garden hoe and get out there and just rake everything out, get a garden rake, get a wheelbarrow, get all the grass out. That's a lot of work to get out there and do. And, and it ain't something I like to broadcast a lot, but I'm disabled. I have back issues, I have problems with pain, and it's a lot of difficulty getting out there and doing all that. So I told Terry, I was like, please get me a tractor. Just please get me a tractor with a tiller on the back of that thing so I can get out there and do all that. I was like, because you just got me double the amount of ground that we already had. So now I have triple the amount total. Plus I have my backyard garden that I work out of. I was like, I need something bigger. I'm like, if we're going to be a growing operation, I got to have some kind of a bigger setup of machinery. So me and him went down to a tractor dealership. We walked in there and we sat down in front of the guy because we had it all picked out which one we wanted. We went around and did a little shopping. We picked out which one we wanted, sat down at his desk, and he said, all right, so how would y'all like to finance this? We said, we'll write you a check. This will cut you a check right now. He's like, oh, okay. I think we paid something about $21,000 for that tractor and that tiller attachment together. And I said, how fast can you have it delivered? He said, where you at? I said, Lake City. He said, I'll deliver it tomorrow for $21,000. I'll have it there tomorrow. And sure enough, he did. And I was so happy about that. Yeah, I got a video on that on YouTube too. And I was so happy to finally have a tractor out here. I mean, it's not very big. It ain't no big old giant 40-acre tractor. Don't need that. But I had to have something to get out there and do that. And just with that piece of machinery alone, I was able to get out there and tear that whole ground up. And then come January, we ended up building a greenhouse. Mm-hmm. And we weren't able to move into our pantry until the summertime because fellow we bought all the property from, he had still been living there. They had made arrangements with the church. He was going to live there for an extended amount of time. He was getting a house built. And it finally came down to it that, we was like, all right, it's time. We got to get inside here, get all this renovated. And he ended up moving out, and we got in there and started redoing the floors, painting everything, getting everything cleaned up. We ended up tearing a whole trailer load of stuff out of there. But like backing up to when we started in the pantry, about 2 years ago, I'd say, when we first put our pantry building up, one of the things that we did, because we're 501c3, we're a charitable nonprofit organization. We went up there to the Northeast Arkansas Food Bank. That's in Jonesboro. And Jonesboro around here is like the metro area. It's not really. It ain't like Little Rock or Memphis or anything or St. Louis, but to us, it's an oasis of metropolitan area out here in the field. And we went over to Jonesboro, and we ended up getting partnered with them. Now, the food bank over there, they get really big donations from places like Sam's Club, Kroger, Walmart. And I know Sam's Club and Walmart's the same company basically, but they're two entities, and they both give out a lot of stuff. Plus other little places give out to them. And they hold food drive. And so because we're a 501c3, we can get on their system, and we can order tons of food for pennies on the dollar. I don't have the figures right in front of me for the last month, but I want to say last month our food pantry had the biggest amount of food received since we have opened. In the month of August 2024, our food pantry received a grand total of 13,628 pounds. And I want to say it was something less than $50 as the total cost plus the gas of going to get it. Because the food bank was so nice when we started partnering with them that last year they ended up giving us a box trailer, signed the title over to us, said here, and it's got the food bank's logo on the side of it. So we ended up going up there. We place our order once a week, and we'll go up there, usually about a Tuesday or Wednesday, something like that. And we'll go up there and we'll pick up what we ordered, which might only be about 400 pounds. And it might not be nothing more than some fruit or some hand sanitizer. And they always are giving out free stuff. And this past few weeks, that forklift driver up there, he's like, "You want some free produce?" I'm like, yes, I do. And he's been averaging the past few months giving me about at least 1,000 pounds of free produce a week. I think the last few weeks it's been something about 1,500 pounds a week, which brings me to this point. And this is why it's so wonderful to be on social media, to constantly be telling people what you're doing and to be transparent. As a charitable organization, you got to be transparent with the people. You got to let the people know what you're getting, when you're getting it, how you're getting it, what you're doing with it. Well, that Facebook page we got, SDCW Food Bank of Lake City, I can put 1,500 pounds of vegetables out on pallets in front of our food pantry. And I can put a post of a picture of all that out there. I guarantee you within an hour, it's gone. 2 weeks ago, I put that out there. It was a Tuesday. I put 1,500 pounds of produce out there. Within 25 minutes, 1,500 pounds vanished. People come get it. Then it'll just be cars just lining down the street doing that. And, people come up and people really happy about what we do. I only wish that we could do more. I wish there was more that we had the ability to do. Like, I know a lot of people are always asking us if we do clothes closet. We don't do a clothes closet because that's That's a whole nother mess right there. You got to have a full-time volunteer, and you got to have a small warehouse of something with racks all in it. You got to have somebody who's going to receive these clothes, wash these clothes, determine if these clothes are even usable. And if you got to throw them away, you got to find a place to throw them away. And if they're good, you got to hang them out. You got to order them up by size. And then you got to have somebody standing there when they walk in the door, and they got to just look through all the stuff. You got to make sure they ain't walking through the clothes closet with a cigarette lit up and end up burning up the clothes. That's a full-time job right there, just for one person, just for one whole entity. And we would love to be there, and hopefully one day we will. But right now we're doing the best we can just to try to feed folks. We went to a conference this past Monday up there at the food bank. It was for our Meal Connect system, because their food source coordinator up there at the NEA food bank, he showed up to our pantry in June, just a couple months back. I was out in the garden picking tomatoes. I had 115 tomato plants out here in Demeter's garden. And I think the tallest one I had was pretty close to 9 feet tall. Had them all on stakes. And I'm out there picking all this stuff, getting all this stuff harvested. We were averaging, probably 300 and something pounds of tomatoes a day there for a while. And he shows up, I'm thinking, this must be like a food pantry inspection or something. And here's where it's real funny. And again, this is how magic will sneak up on you. We had a need. We're over here working for the gods. We're over here working, trying to help feed the children of God. She knows what we're doing. And we're halfway done renovating a building that we bought to triple the amount of space that we would have just to be able to help feed people out of a pantry building. Not even halfway done trying to put the floors down, and this guy shows up and he's like, "Hey, would y'all like to get a bunch of donations from Dollar General?" Now, I don't know if y'all got Dollar Generals where y'all at, whoever's watching, but they end up getting rid of a bunch of stuff every week. Yes, they do. And I worked for the Dollar General here in town, so I knew this. I was like, yes, we do want it. We do want it. I knew the moment he said that all it was going to take was one good thunderstorm to come on through here, knock out all their coolers, and they're going to be calling me, and I'm going to have a whole bunch of milk. But let me tell you, that's exactly what's been happening. And that's why I'm so tired right now, because day after day, week after week, month after month, I'm on call. They can call me every single day. Hey, our coolers went out. Can you come get this food off our hands before it's spoiled? I'm on my way. And that's part of the sacrifice that people up at this church, not just me, Terry sacrifices, Amby sacrifices, John. Let me tell you, we got a church member, John. He's my assistant garden coordinator. The reason I was able to do 115 tomato plants plus all these other things that we do is because of that man. Mm-hmm. And I appreciate him all day for what he does.
Hands on deck in the garden itself. Who's in the garden? You and the person you're talking about?
Yeah. This year, because we expanded so much, I was like, who wants to step up and help me a lot more? Because that's the thing, is like, at this church, at Southern Delta Church of Wicked, there is never nothing going on. Never. Something is happening 24/7 at this church. You got people coming in for counseling sessions. You got students who need to get taught. You got church services that need to get ran. You got potlucks. You have crossovers. You got hand fastenings. You got all manners of rites passages that come through here. And on top of that, we have community outreach. I've been in some form of community outreach for 5 years here. I started out as a community garden coordinator. And then once they elevated me to second degree, I ended up becoming a director over all of the community outreach programs. Like I said, highway cleanup it's just it's ongoing, and and like I said, I got to give so much props to John because he got out there and he worked his butt off this year. Terry, he'll tell you he didn't get out there and plant a thing. He didn't get out there and harvest a thing. He didn't do anything to do with that garden this year. He didn't. He was happy. A few weeks ago, he ended up having some medical issues, and he was under orders from the doctor to sit on his butt. Terry don't like to sit on his butt. Terry's always going. He's always working. He's always doing something. We usually got to keep him off the roof if the thing is leaking or something, but he was sitting there doing what the doctor told him. And I come out there and I told him, you want to come out there and drive the tractor? Might give you something to do. He's like, no, I don't want nothing to do with that. That's all you go out there and you do that. I was like, okay. And I had to go out there. I had to till under all them tomato plants and everything. But yeah, like I said, it's not just one person here that's doing this. If I didn't have one person keeping the temple clean, I hadn't had one person who was doing some type of maintenance, if I didn't have another person who was doing this, that, or the other right here, I'd be out there having to do that too. And that takes time away from what I need to do with community outreach. So it's not just me. It's everybody here at the church that's constantly working. It's a group effort to try to help do all the things we do here at Southern Delta. I got to give blessings to everybody for everything they do. I know I talk a lot. You might have some questions. You go right on ahead and ask me.
You started with a parking lot, man. It started with a bench with a couple pieces of produce that started into something else. It's snowball effect, man. I love it. Where do you see the whole charitable organization in 5 years from now? Is it going to continue to grow? Is there continually more work? How's this going to play out? What's the trajectory of it? Oh,
well, what will be, and I can tell you what we want. What we want is to be able to continually expand and feed more people. I'd like to be able to see a 3-4 miles of vehicles, backing up traffic on the highway down here trying to get to our pantry. I'd like to see that. I'd like to see us make national news just to be able to get more people involved. But it's like we ended up getting in the Arkansas Times this year. That was a big honor. Got on the cover of that, and had a big old story. Had people, people been coming and interviewing us this year. On top of all the work, we're trying to spread the information out there, trying to get people involved. The more people donate and work, because every bit of this is ran on donations and volunteer effort. Every bit of it. We don't get paid to do this. None of us get paid to do this. The reward from doing all this is feeling good about it, seeing change in our community. Last year I had this person. We call them our customers. It ain't the right word, but it's the closest thing we know to say. The customers of our food pantry. We had this young lady, early 20s. She'd been going to college up here at Arkansas State University. I think she was up there for nursing. And, college ain't cheap. And a lot of times you're eating ramen noodles and potted meat. So she's coming up there to our pantry just to be able to eat, just so she can make it through nursing. I happen to feel like that if you are in a medical field, you're a superhero. You are. To me, if you're somebody out there who has to see all the hardest things to see as a human being, the things that you don't want to think about when you close your eyes. And they're up in there seeing it. To me, that's a superhero. And she comes up to our pantry to eat. So it's an honor to be able to help somebody who's going through something that could potentially help her herself, going to help so many people who are on their last limb, and she come up to us sometime last summer, I think it was, because she had just graduated college, just graduated nursing school. And she said, this is going to be my last time here because I just graduated. And I just wanted to thank y'all because I don't think I would have made it through nursing school without y'all's food pantry. Now, you see, it's that. That's why I do this. That's why I pry my butt out of bed every day. Hurting, tired, don't matter. I run on conviction and coffee. You got to have a lot of coffee.
You got to have that coffee. So if anybody if any of the viewers have a question for our guest, that would be great. But there is one here from Rebecca. She asks, in what ways has the Southern Delta changed in the last year? Has it faced challenges? How can we support you? So how can the community support the Southern Delta? And she has the other questions.
Well, we always need donations. We always need volunteers. I mean, that's the biggest thing. When the summertime is going and it's hot, people don't like pulling weeds. They don't. I don't blame them because I don't like getting out there and pulling weeds. But you got to do it. Mowing the grass. Something needs painted. You got to repair something. The problem always really comes down to, we can have a church work day. We can be like, all right, we're going to set up this Saturday is whatever time. And we're going to have, we're hoping that such and such amount of people show up and we can do that. But quite often, what really always needs to be done around here is impromptu emergency repairs and just keeping the day-to-day maintenance up, and I had somebody the other day, they come up to me and they said, same question. They said, is there anything I can do to help? And I was like, well, I need gas money because I get calls every day to go pick up, food from these stores and restaurants and stuff. And I'm like, it cost me about $10, $15 in gas just to drive all the way across the county and back just to be able to go get, a buggy full of milk, just to put it in there, So donations are always helpful. They're always helpful. Getting on our Facebook page and sharing what we do. That's something you could do to help. I mean, I don't know our donation links off the top of my head. I know that we have a PayPal and a Cash App and all that stuff. I don't know them off the top of my head. I'd have to ask, but I know if you go on our Facebook pages and stuff, we can provide that for you. We have a YouTube channel. We recently got up to 1,000 subscribers. That took 5 years. We were so proud that we was able to get over 1,000 subscribers. Finally, that was a big hurdle. Getting on there, hitting subscribe, sharing our videos, liking our videos, interacting, commenting and engaging what we're doing. That's a big help. I can't tell you how much a big help that is, But I know not everybody, I don't expect somebody who lives in Michigan to drive down here to Southern Delta Church Wicca in the middle of the Bible Belt just to pull weeds or mow the yard, But like I said, if you want to send $10, that's a tank of gas for me. Go get some food to help people,
Do you have a Facebook page?
Me personally or the church?
Both.
Yeah, both. I got one myself. My name is Glenn Garrison. You can find me on there. This face is all over the profile picture. Then Then we got the Southern Delta Church of Wicca, ATC, Facebook page, and YouTube channel, same name.
Mhm.
Then of course our food pantry is on there. If you ever want to send something to us in the mail, 104 Main Street, Lake City, Arkansas 72437. You can, if you want it to go to the food pantry or our community garden, all you got to do is put the pagan gardener on there. I'll know exactly what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm. Also in the comments, we have another question. Do you ever get to help people spiritually after you help feed them? Does feeding them build a relationship?
That's a good question. That's a good question. And I'll tell you why it's a good question. You know, it's something that I hear all the time from the people that come to our food pantry. I ain't trying to talk bad about no other pantry. I ain't, you know, somebody's out there doing hard work. I can only imagine what they're going through. But I hear this from the people who show up to our food pantry every week. So happy y'all do what you do. They say y'all are such a blessing. But they always tell me that when they go to these other food pantries that are in our local area, the one difference that our food pantry always makes an effort to be different, to be set apart from any other food pantry, is we ain't trying to proselytize. We're not here to get somebody to come to our service. You know, if you're hungry, if your belly is growling, if your child's belly is growling, you can come and get a box of food from us. They don't turn you down. You know, and I've had so many people come up to us. Somebody got handed a box of food one time, and they said, "So I gotta come to y'all services, or what do I need to do?" I was like, "Nothing. You're here for food. You're not here for spiritual assistance." And I'm like, "Do you want to come to church?" And he said, "No, He was like, "I'm a Christian," and I'm like, "I don't expect you to come to no services. You're here for food, you know." But every once in a while, somebody does ask. You know, there's been a handful of folks who have decided they wanted to come attend our church services just out of curiosity. You know, and you're welcome. We're a church. We're open to the public. People can come to our services. You know, but we never ever, you know, try to push our faith on people. You know, the only thing we're pushing on somebody is a box of food at the window. So, you know, that's it. Here's your box. You know, and milk. Here lately, we've been getting so much milk. We're like, here, take another jug. You know. I hope that answered your question.
Mm-hmm. So I have a question of my own. When dealing with food, when you're offering food to the hungry, you know, that's a diff. Do you think that other churches use that as a form of manipulation to draw them into that particular religious lifestyle?
Well, here's the thing about that. I don't go to the food pantries personally. And I don't want to be unprofessional about what I do. You know, I try to be very professional about what I do. You know, I love this. I take a lot of pride in working for Goddess, doing her will. And I don't know what's in somebody's heart at another church. I don't know. Does negative thoughts exist in this world? Yes. Are there people who have the ability and use and abuse the ability to manipulate people in this world? Yes, there are. But I'll tell you this: I'm not going to single out, somebody of another faith in that way, because I always look at it like this. If you're pointing out the dirt in somebody else's house, how much could you be sweeping in your own? You know what I'm saying? So I know that exists in this world, but I'm not here to put somebody else down for what they're doing. If they're going to do that, this is what I do know. If they're going to do that, the karma will have its day. It always has its day. That's just a snowball effect of negativity. And I, for one, don't want to be around that when it happens. All I know is the people who come to our pantry and to our garden looking for food, if they tell us that that place down the road, when they go to that place, they're sneaking pamphlets into their boxes, or they require them to attend a service or something. They'll say that, but I can't verify that, and I'm not going to sit there and say that I know for a fact that they're doing that, because I don't want to be divisive. I want to work with these other places. I want to see the day where this witch church down here in Lake City, Arkansas can stand side by side with a Pentecost church and a Catholic church and any other kind of church in solidarity, working and trying to help everybody for a common goal, because their stomach's growling, not because their soul's hurting. And if their soul's hurting, that's a whole different kind of hunger. That's something else. They have to ask for that. But they ain't coming to our pantry asking for spiritual guidance. They're coming to our pantry asking to help feed their children.
And you're growing it right from Gaia itself, man. How honorable is that? So, yeah, I really appreciate you coming on the Lone Wolf Show, man. Do you have any parting words of advice or a parent inspiration?
Yeah, I got one thing. You put it in my biography, in my little bio. You had asked me to write a little bio that you could give to people. It's my favorite quote in this world. I don't know who said it. I looked online trying to find out who said it, and I've seen a couple of different opinions about who made the quote, but I don't know. So I just say unknown to me. But this is the quote, because somebody always said it better than me. The quote is, if you are more fortunate than others, build a longer table, not a taller fence. That's what I'll leave you with. And coffee.
Well, you heard it right here from Reb Glenn Garrison. Thanks for coming on the Lone Wolf Show, man. Keep it right here, Witchcraft TV.
Tune in to the Lone Wolf Show. Join us as we embark an enchanting journey with the most renowned pagans of our time. From visionary authors who weave magic with words to musicians whose melodies echo the ancient rhythms of the earth, and witchcraft teachers who unlock the mysteries of the old way. With contemporary and historical witchcraft, man. Meet the authors who pen the spells and captivate our souls, man. Listen to the musicians who strum the strings of Gaia herself, the straight spirit and raw. Learn from the teachers who illuminate the path of hidden knowledge. Don't miss the exclusive series and interviews where mysticism meets the microphone, only on the Lone Wolf Show, man, where magic happens, man, and Witchcraft TV comes every weekday, Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Witchcraft TV.